Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. Woo! Guess what, y'all? I have finally arrived to the studio. You guys know I never tell you any lies. What a day for technology. I'm just happy to be here in the Her Voice Shines podcast land. I am your fabulous host, Shanasia Washington, streaming from the real hot Houston, Texas. I have a beautiful lady that's with me today who has already shown resilience and patience. And I'm so very, very, very excited to talk to her today. She's going to come and do her normal drill, or our normal drill. She comes to the stage, tells us her name, where she's streaming from, and we get the magic of that story. Without any further waiting time, here's my very beautiful guest for today.
Hi, I'm Linda Henderson. I'm coming to you from Canada, Ontario, small town Trenton, Ontario. I am a happily married mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. I have 5 children. We have a blended family, 5 grown children, and 1 in heaven. We have 10 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. I am a retired nurse of 37 years. I spent most of my nursing career in hospitals. The latter part of my journey was spent in the community, providing nursing services to people that required it in their home. My life took on a big change December 20th, 2011. My 27-year-old daughter was pregnant and had a 2-year-old little boy at home. She was out in the community as a social worker working with the youth of our community and returning to her job after being in the community with these young girls. And she was hit by a transport truck driver who was texting and having an argument with his girlfriend while he was driving. They were stopped, waiting to turn, and he hit them from behind, where he pushed them into the oncoming traffic, and they were hit yet again the second time. Both her, my daughter Andrea, who was a passenger in the front seat, and her co-worker, who was the driver, were killed instantly. That is the day when my life was shattered into a million pieces. I did not know how I would survive that. I wanted to die. I wanted to be with her. But I'm here today to share my story of hope and empowerment, that I am thriving, surviving, and thriving. And my mission now is to reach out and just tell people and give that message that no matter what the circumstances are in life, no matter what the adversities are, whether it be grief from the loss of a person, other kinds of grief, or mental health issues, that you can do this. About 9 years into my journey, I decided that I had so many stories inside that I put my pain into purpose, and I wrote my book, The Road of Love and Hope, and it is about the journey of child loss and grief.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Linda. And even, of course, reading your information and then hearing it here, just hearing it out of your mouth, of course, brought up different emotions for me, right? I do, of course, still want to extend my condolences, even at this state, to leaving, to having to lose a daughter and, leave a grandchild without a mother. We've experienced young tragic events with having such a large family like yours. We unfortunately have had to lose a lot of lives fairly early because we have so many people. But when it's earlier, it just hits a little bit different. One of the things that you said in your form, you said that you described your daughter's legacy as one of an unconditional mother's love. Those were the exact words that you put in there. And of course, it did this, my heart, it did that to my heart.
Yes.
Tell me about how does that legacy continue in you today? You talked about it a little bit, but having that as an overarching unconditional mother's love, how does that legacy play out day to day?
Well, first of all, that legacy is day to day because I daily don't try. I conquer grief on a daily basis and I deal with it triumphantly. And when I live my life and when I appreciate nature and go out for a walk and see the sun shining and kiss the cheeks of my grandchildren, I'm living my life. And that is a legacy for her because my life has continued and I can continue her story. And the legacy continues with me living, but also every day I honor her. I go into the community, I do book signings, I'm a grief advocate, I write articles for a couple of online uh, portals for grief for uh, for people to go to, and just promoting my book, advocating for grief, speaking at the various groups that I'm involved with in the community, and I'm honoring her. I also have a book published that she wrote in high school, and it was a high school project, and it was called a little book that she wrote called Spooky Meets a Friend. And that book is sold, and it's all across Canada. So she is everywhere. Our legacy and her legacy continues daily with my voice.
Beautiful. Tell me about maybe, okay, so how did your understanding of grief change with losing a daughter? Tell me how it changed, and then what would you give advice? What kind of advice would you give for someone who's grieving the loss of a child? Because I have a close friend who's doing that right now as we speak. I'm going to direct her to this podcast. I want you to tell me what was that shift in grief because I've lost different people and the grief patterns have been different. So just tell me what your overall experience with grief has been post the loss of your daughter, and then what would you give some encouraging words, or what would you say, I should say, to someone who's grieving the loss of a child?
Well, grief in the beginning is, in the beginning when I lost my daughter, it was just, I was existing outside of my body. I wasn't even aware of my surroundings. My husband had to be my caregiver, and I was medicated, and I was not in touch with reality for quite some time, for months. But grief in the beginning, the sharp edges, it's a whole body experience. It affects everyone emotionally, physically, cognitively, socially, and in so many ways. And it's a whole body experience that needs to be dealt with. And so the acknowledgement of all of those feelings is necessary. And so in the beginning, that's very difficult because it's confusing. It's hard to define what it is that you're feeling. And then as time goes on, grief takes on different changes. Time does not heal. Time is a teacher. And one learns how to deal with the grief and how to move from one moment to the next by setting small, tiny, achievable goals like tomorrow I'm going to shower, and then be proud and celebrate that success. And by moving slowly from one action to another, one step to another, it slowly moves you along. Time moves us along, whether we want to be moved along or not. And then grief takes on its changes, and we learn how to control the grief instead of the grief controlling us, and the pain takes on a different shape and form. It softens. The frequency of falling down into that dark pit is less, and we generally basically learn how to live with it, and whatever coping skills we learn along the way. It's individual. Grief is as unique as your fingerprint. Everybody is different, so what works for some won't work for another. And that's basically what has gotten me where I am today, and learned that love is eternal, and the love and the bond that my daughter and I have, that other people have with their person that they've lost, is eternal and untouched by death. And that is my guiding beacon that shines the way for me.
Absolutely beautiful. And I think the most powerful thing from this segment, Ms. Linda, is that time, it teaches, right? It doesn't, there's no straight path or no time limit for grief. It's a kind of ongoing thing. But I'm really in a season now where I'm really learning exactly what you said. And I kind of alluded to that at the beginning before we started to record, is that time is that teacher. And I'm every day of my life, time is one of those things that's kind of at the forefront. Not that I'm, incredibly driven by it, but it is something that's a part of my everyday being and how I flow and show up. Because I talked to you a little bit about time and how I like to run things, but time is that high value currency that we can't get back and it can't exchange. So thank you so much for sharing that. We were talking specifically about grief, but as you were saying, that it opened up other windows as it relates to time specifically. So thank you for sharing that. When you were writing the book, you said that the book, basically you put your suffering into the book. You put your suffering voice into the book. Tell me, what was the hardest part to write the book, and how did that process help the healing process, if that makes sense?
I didn't realize it at the time when I was writing my book. I had to reach deep into my soul, and I wanted to tap into every emotion that I felt so that it could be relatable. And so it was quite a process. It was pretty much daily. I got up in the morning, I sat and I typed, and all day long. Some days I stayed in my PJs. My husband would come home and say, "Haven't you even dressed yet?" No, I've just been writing. So I poured my heart and soul into every single word because I wanted it to be relatable. At the time when I was doing it, it was very, very traumatic because I kept pulling myself back to that day every time I was writing it. So it was difficult. But then once it was all done and published, it was the most healing experience that I had experienced in the whole course of my grief. And now I have a newfound purpose, a new mission. I have grieved in a way that I never grieved before. So it has been a very healing journey for me to be able to have this as a resource and to reach out to other people. And when you're helping other people, helping is healing as well.
Yeah, and that's an excellent segue to my question. My next question, because I know that you are deeply involved in community and advocacy work. Sometimes even with doing this podcast, because even though I will kind of teach voice and visibility, me doing a podcast, Miss Linda, it's a different kind of reach. It's a different kind of like reciprocal flow. It's a different kind of place to be pure and vulnerable. It's just different. While this is like me in action, using the voice and being vulnerable, I just feel different when I'm here versus teaching a course, which may lead somebody else to get here, right? This is a different core of what I'm doing. So let me ask you this. So is there a moment maybe with the community and advocacy work that made you feel like, this story has real impact? This story is really touching others? Because sometimes it's with that exchange, you really can see those seeds that you planted are not being watered. So can you talk about that?
Well, there's several moments that I can reflect on. Um, the the one that I think of most recently in person is I was at a book signing, and there was a man who came up to the table, and in this bookstore he had his arms full with some books, and he said, "Can I put my books down?" And I said, "Yes, sure." He put the books down, and he picked up my book, and he said, "Did you write this?" And I said, "Most definitely," and told him my story. And he had tears in his eyes. He didn't, relate any of what his issue was, but he said, "Can I buy it?" I said, "Of course, yes, that's why I'm here." So he picked up his books, he took my book with him, and he walked away with tears in his eyes. And when I set out to write my book, I said, if I can help one person in this world, then I will have achieved my goal. And that day was a clear example that I am reaching people, and I've touched that one person, and was able to help him. And he went home that day and hopefully was able to get some inspiration from my book.
You know I love it, Miss Linda. You know, I absolutely love it because it's so beautiful. And I love this next phase because you're working on a collaborative book, right? I think I read something. Aren't you working on a collaborative book, perhaps with some other bereaved mothers?
Yes, actually, it's with another gentleman who lost he had a stillborn, and
Uh,
so I'm working. He is the one who is putting together this book, and I'm going to be one of the authors in the book, and hopefully that will be out in September. He's hoping for that.
so, is there anything that may have perhaps ignited, like when it's kind of shared loss? You know, it's kind of one thing when you're telling your story and maybe people don't have the insight or they've never been to through something that's as traumatic, right? You tell the story and it resonates a certain way. Is there a different feel when these people have experienced similar? Is there something different that ignites?
um well, grief, the pain of grief is the same. The circumstances may be different, uh, but when it comes to the pain, the devastating pain, and having to go through all of what grief does to your body, it lives in every fiber of your body. The pain is the same. The circumstances may be different, but of course, I can relate on whatever level, because there's that common denominator of pain, regardless of circumstances or who the person is.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, and I really love that
I'm
you.
not sure, is that what you meant when you asked me that question?
It was the perfect answer, Miss Linda.
Uh,
It was a perfect answer.
oh,
Because with these, no, it's I asked that because that's kind of a reflection, really, of my own empathy level. We're talking to so many different women, Miss Linda, with so many different types of experience, and I say this often on this podcast. I really walk this space differently. When I say space, the life's journey. That's what I mean.
mhm, mhm.
A lot differently than most people that are very close to me and around because I've had to not only from the seat but just past experience. I've gotten to have a lot of different viewpoints, Miss Linda,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I'm so very, 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 very grateful for it. It just changed who I am. It changed how I view the world. It changed how I interact with people. It's
Oh,
changed.
absolutely.
It's changed. And
Yes.
I'm so much of a better person because of it. Because people are like, you probably could talk to a fly on the wall. I said I probably could if the fly if he would open his mouth and tell me about the experience, yeah, I'll probably listen to it because I'm telling you, these conversations, because so many people have a tendency to think that they're the only one going through. They tend to isolate sometimes in grief, tend to isolate sometimes when it's high pressure situations. That's why the power of storytelling really, really matters because
Yeah.
that's what bridges the gap
Mhm.
where people
Because
can
you're
see.
because you're not alone. The
Mhm.
message to be given is you are not alone. And I always say, if I can conquer this, you can conquer
Mm,
too.
powerful.
Yes.
People hear it, but it's so powerful and it means so much. Let me go here because I want to have a clean segment, Miss Linda, where you actually tell us, of course, just reiterate the name of the book. Let us know where to find it. Also, too, I know there's some other touch points that you provide in terms of speaking. Just give us a clean segment here to promote the book and where you can find it, and also to where to connect with you should listeners want to do that.
hmm my book is The Road of Love and Hope. It is available on Amazon. My website is authorlindahenderson.com, and it can be purchased on the website as well. Uh, Andrea's book, Spooky Meets a Friend, is on Amazon. It's on my website, authorlindahenderson.com. And if you go straight to Amazon, her book is Andrea Watkins, not under my name. And I forgot the other question you asked me.
First off, that was most of it. We wanted the connection points. We wanted the name of the book. The only other piece that wasn't there, if there are, I know you're speaking, you do different things. So if there's, a separate email or contact, if people want to connect with you as it relates to that, like outside of the book, I just want to have all the information here.
Mm-hmm. Well, my email is lhenderson24 at Cogeco, COGECO.ca. I'm on Instagram, Linda Henderson 5044, and Facebook is Linda Wesley Henderson. That's my personal page. Anybody could send me messages, and I'm more than willing to talk to them about their problems, their issues, and to direct them to the resources that are appropriate for them.
I love it. I'm going to give you one more question before we do our rapid fire round, because I want to bring this up because I don't get to talk about it often, even though I asked on the form about success and really how it's defined. And of course, you said it's not defined really by awards or achievement, which I am 100% there with you. How do you define the success now? And really, how has that definition of success evolved for you? Because for me, even 5 years ago, success was different for me, Miss Linda. And as I keep waking up and getting a little bit older and, and getting to where I am, success looks different. And I'm very proud of that for me. So tell me about your definition of it and really about that evolution of success because it changes throughout our lives.
Well, success, my life is divided forever in two chapters. The one where Andrea was here with me, and now this chapter where she's still with me. She was with me physically, but my next chapter is having her with me and having a relationship with her in a different way that I wasn't used to for 27 years. So my definition when I had her, of course, was totally different now. My definition of success now is to daily conquer grief, daily appreciate life, and to, at the end of the day, I ask myself, how could I have made things better? And tomorrow is not here, so I appreciate the day now, the time that we have right now. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here. So I try to be the best version of me that I possibly can be every single day. And then success, as well as that, is to honor her in everything that I do. And by honoring her and appreciating life, I reach out, and success to me is helping that one person understand that they're not alone, they're not going crazy, and that there are people there to support them. So success for me is to, if I can make the world a better place just by one step at a time, then that's success.
And I definitely think that you are doing that, Miss Linda. I see it in your work. I see it in your energy. I see it in the evolution of what you told me it felt like and how you express yourself now, kind of on the other side of it. So beautiful work. I know it hasn't been easy, but beautiful, beautiful work.
Thank you.
Beautiful work.
Yes.
Let me go here because rapid fire round is where we have 10 questions that I prepared for you. And I ask you the question, and you just say the first thing that comes up to mind. You know, the first thing that comes there, we want that fresh answer. It's just,
Okay.
it's just brain stimulation. You know, we just got to make sure that we stay on it. Number one, a word that defines your healing journey.
A word that defines my healing journey. It's a process.
It is. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Give me a quote that holds you together.
My quote that I created for myself in my journey is embrace the moments, cherish the memories, and hope for tomorrow.
I might have to steal it, Miss Linda, but don't tell nobody, okay? Tell me something people get wrong about grief.
Oh, that's a big one. There's
Mm,
a lot. People get everything wrong about grief.
mm, mm,
People think, and I talk about this all the time, people think that grief is to be put in a little box. You deal with it, you shed your tears, you go through the funeral, and life goes on. So you put it in a little box and
mm.
you put it on this shelf and you leave it there, and that's it. It's done. That's not how it works.
Tell me this, a moment you knew you were changing.
Oh,
Mm,
well, I it was about 6 months into my journey of devastation,
mm,
and I was not in a good place.
mm,
And I disappeared.
mm,
I went into the woods at the end of our street. It's now all built up, but there was woods, an old train track there. And I had a bottle of wine.
mhm,
I consumed the bottle of wine, and I seriously contemplated ending my life.
mm,
Not that I wanted to leave, not that I wanted to die. I just could not
mm,
take this pain
mm,
one more moment. And when the bottle was empty, I thought I could do this right now. I could cut my wrists, and I knew exactly what I could do. But I believe God took over, and He said, "No, I'm not finished with you yet." And I went home. And that was a pivotal moment in my life where I decided that I was going to deal with this grief and chip away at it
mhm,
one small bit at a time. And here I
mhm.
am.
And here you are. Tell me a song that gets you through a hard day. You have a special song that you can retreat to?
um, I was born and raised in a Christian home.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's a recognizable song for anyone now, but it one day at a time, and it's one day at a time, sweet Jesus, show
Mm-hmm.
me the way. And I just sing that in my head all the time, one day at a time.
I love it.
Mhm.
Tell me a small joy that's sacred to you.
A small joy. I have lots of big joys.
Come on and claim it. Wait a minute. Let me rerun it because it's the power of our tongue, right?
uh,
Tell
yeah
me some
the
big joys, Miss Linda. That's
well,
sacred to you.
I first of all, my daily joy is my husband. He is
Mm,
my rock, my support, my confidant. We've been married 28 years.
love it.
um, we love each other dearly, more now than the day we met. We've been through so much,
Mm,
and he's my big joy. And my family, my great grandchildren, I am so blessed. That day, if I had carried through with the devastation of what I was thinking, I
Mhm.
would have missed out on so many blessings in life,
Yeah.
so many
Right.
joys. And I have 5 great grandchildren that I kiss and hug daily. So
Mhm.
those are joys.
And those are some beautiful joys and big joys, like you
Yes.
said. Oh, I love that correction in the moment from small to
The,
big.
li- the little
Yeah.
joys are me walking outside, looking at my tulips and appreciating the beautiful color and appreciating nature.
Beautiful. The biggest lesson grief has taught you.
The biggest grief is ugly, grief is raw,
Mm.
grief takes away many things, but it is a great teacher and it teaches many things. But the biggest lesson that it has taught me is that life is fragile,
Mm.
life is
Yeah,
precious,
it is.
life is a gift. It is meant to be lived. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here.
Yeah.
So live for today.
We kind of touched on this one, but I'll give you an opportunity to revisit it here in rapid fire. The first thing you say to a newly grieving parent.
Shed those tears.
Mm.
Shed those tears because those tears are love with nowhere to go and without any guilt. And just take time to breathe and move from one moment to the next.
When your work continues for the next 5 years, Miss Linda, tell me about maybe a dream within that you may have hoped that it reaches. I know that we talked about it, just reaching that one person and changing it. But if this work was to continue for another 5 years, any other dreams attached to it?
Uh, a dream that I have is to start a foundation, and I'm just not sure
Yes.
which route that would take. The other dream is to and speak publicly and be out there more than I am.
And this is our final one, our final rapid fire question. And I just want you to tell me what legacy is in one sentence.
In one sentence,
What's legacy?
um, oh, that's a hard one. Uh, what will you think of when I'm gone?
Mm-hmm. And that's similar to the lines of what I think about every day, Miss Linda. And I tell people every day is an opportunity for me to put some good in the earth.
Right,
Every day. I
right,
don't care
right.
if it's just a small word, a small prayer, but every day I have an opportunity to get up and put something good into this.
Yes, that's right.
And that's what I'm hoping that people remember. But let me tell you something, Miss Linda. It's been an amazing, amazing episode. We've been on here 33 minutes. Don't even feel like it because
No, it doesn't.
because we have just such a good time around here. But let me tell you, I honor you in this space. Beautiful journey. You are an inspiration to many. And I
Thank
do
you.
have people personally in my corner that I want to redirect to this episode when it airs because I know that they need this. They need to see this. Okay. So to everyone out there in the Her Voice Science podcast, I want to thank you. We're going to give Miss Linda an opportunity to give her final thoughts. We go over and ask her to give us a final parting words for this space and really something that captures the essence of Miss Linda Henderson. And I'll be right back to close the show. So over to you for final thoughts.
Well, I think I've probably already touched on some meaningful things that are very meaningful to me, and one of the biggest things that grief has taught me, and that is life is valuable, life is a gift, and I think we need to be grateful for every moment that we have in life because tomorrow's not promised. So, whatever living your life means to you, you know, then you need to do it because life is very valuable. And for the grieving, you need to acknowledge every single emotion and move forward with tiny, small actions that will bring you from your dark place into a place of light. And by doing that slowly through the process of grief, you are cultivating hope back into your life.
Very good. Very, very good. Very good. Thank you so much. Let me tell y'all, let me just thank Miss Linda again and everyone that's out there in Her Voice Shines podcast land. You know that I tell you miraculous things happen when you let your voice shine. I really want you to take that into your spirit today. Like the old church folks say, I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. You can always close with that. And I'll be back really in no time with another amazing woman on the Her Voice Shines podcast. Until then, we're out.